Welcome to the 13th episode of Two Cents Tuesday. In 2009, I went to the Eugene O'Neill Theater on Broadway to watch the musical Fela, which was based on the life of the Nigerian musician, composer, band leader, political activist, and Pan-Africanist Fela Kuti. Fela was an amazing Nigerian musician whose influence was so great that there were times when the Nigerian government assigned as many as 1,000 soldiers to stop his performances at Lagos's legendary nightclub, The Shrine. Fela was my first Broadway musical, and I enjoyed every minute of it. The story was riveting and compelling. The acting was excellent, and the music was captivating. For those who may not know, and I certainly did not know prior to reading about Fela before I attended the musical, Fela Kuti is the pioneer of Afrobeat, which is an African music genre that combines Yoruba percussion and vocals with American funk and jazz. The Fela musical confirmed in my mind the power that music has to influence people, change moods, and stir passions. I love music. I found out at a very early age that listening to music was one of the things that I truly enjoyed. Music has been an essential part of my life. It was the omnipresent background to my many years studying for exams. I often wondered why I could not remember some of my biochemistry or chemistry work with the same ease that I recalled the words to songs. Music is still my go-to when I want to unwind or disconnect. I was fortunate to grow up in a period that produced some of the richest music from the Caribbean. My youth was spent listening to Bob Marley and the Wailers, Peter Tosh, Culture, Burning Spear, Black Uhuru, Big Youth, Steel Pulse, Dennis Brown, Aswad, and Third World. These pioneers took reggae music. They shaped it, they molded it, they promoted it, they spread it globally, and turned it into a respected international music genre. But it was not just rich reggae music that was produced during my young adult years. David Rudder, Chalk Dust, Shadow, Crow Crow, Invader, Ashanti, Pep, and Herb Black created calypsos that chronicled the times in which we were living and provided a voice for those who, before talk shows and social media, had no way of expressing publicly how they felt about what was going on in the society in which they lived and how they felt about the government that was in power. And when we wanted to sway and dance to melodious rhythms, there was Kassav to give us infectious zouk music and Tabu Combo to supply us with sweet Kopa music. These were great times if you enjoyed music like I do. But music has changed, and it's not just in the Caribbean. Big musical groups like Earth, Wind and Fire, the Commodores, and the OJs are fading memories. There is no more Prince, or Michael Jackson, or Whitney Houston, or Aretha Franklin, or Marvin Gaye. No longer do we anticipate the next album from Stevie Wonder, Quincy Jones, Madonna, Billy Joel, or Elton John. In much the same way that our parents had difficulty making the transition from Nat King Cole, Otis Redding, Elvis Presley, Sam Cooke, and James Brown, many in my generation cannot come to grips with the fact that we will not be hearing music that sounds like Luther Vandross, Gladys Knight, Barry White, Tina Turner, or Sade. The new trendsetters in music are Jay-Z, Beyonce, Rihanna, Drake, Lady Gaga, and Taylor Swift. In the Caribbean, the pace of reggae music is determined by Vybz Kartel, Popcaan, Mavado, Sean Paul, Spice, Chronixx, Dexter Daps, and Alkaline. Although they are still relevant, Beenie Man and Buju are no longer the trendsetters. Soca has replaced Calypso as the dominant music coming from Trinidad and Tobago. And we no longer eagerly anticipate who will win the Calypso crown. Instead, all the attention is focused on what soca music will be produced by Machel, by Faye Ann, by Bunji, by Patrice, by Destra, by Kess, and by our own Tedderson John, and also for us in St. Lucia, which songs will feature collaborations with Moto. I've gone on this long musical journey to make the point that music changes, and every generation has its own distinctive musical influences. My parents were very uncomfortable in the late 1970s with me blasting Bob Marley's Chase Them Crazy Ballheads Out of Town, or Big Youth's Kill Pope Paul and Babylon Fall on my little Amstrad amplifier in my home at the corner of Coral Street and Grass Street. But they accepted that North to Alaska by Johnny Horton, El Paso by Marty Robbins, Across the Bridge by Jim Reeves, and Que Sera Sera by Doris Day would never be played on that little Amstrad amplifier. However, they trusted me enough to understand that I was simply enjoying the music of my generation. And I was not signaling an intent to start a revolution against the political or religious establishment of the day. It is this understanding of the evolution of contemporary music, coupled with my own love for music, which caused me to take an instant liking to Dennery Segment. And I've made that clear, I've said so very often publicly. I love Dennery Segment. The beat is infectious. It stirs an instinctive, almost primordial impulse in us. It is clear to anyone who understands St. Lucian culture that the Dennery Segment beats are not invasive alien species. They are of us and from us. They resonate to the beat of the heart of our culture. It is difficult not to be moved by the beat of the songs. The fact that this is a music that originated from our country and has, in a relatively short space of time, become so popular across the Caribbean is something about which we should all be very proud. Where the contention and controversy lie, however, is in the lyrics that accompany the music. From its inception, the sexually charged nature of the lyrics of many of the songs have rubbed some people the wrong way. There have been calls in some quarters for the artists to, quote unquote, clean up their lyrics, or to, again, quote unquote, stop degrading and objectifying women. However, there are many fierce defenders of the art form who reject any notion that the artist should do anything about their lyrics. They see the calls as a form of censorship at worst, and at best, a stifling of the creativity of the artist, even before the art form has been allowed to grow and develop. My 2 cents take on this is, like so many things, we appear to have reduced this discussion to a binary issue, something for which there is only a 0 or 1 or black or white solution. Either the artists clean up their music and stop singing sexually charged songs, or they ignore completely the complaints of those who have a problem with the lyrics and keep doing what they have been doing. But why can't they do both? The people who are complaining about the lyrics represent potential customers for the artists in their quest to expand their audience and earn more revenue. If they are asking for music with lyrics that are less sexual, should the artists not see this as an opportunity to expand their reach and their range and get through to a larger audience? Successful artists are able to move diverse groups of people with their music. Bob Marley sang about the injustice of the economic rat race. He cried down white supremacy in war and Zimbabwe. He sang about the need for social and political revolution in Burning and Looting and Get Up, Stand Up. He championed the cause of the dispossessed and the small man in Small Axe. He preached social activism in Redemption Song. He exalted Herb in Kaya. He decried slavery in Slave Driver. He vilified the oppressor in Crazy Ballhead. He showed his loving side in Stir It Up and Is This Love? He showed us his fun side in Punky Reggae Party and Jammin'. He sang about religious persecution in So Much Things to Say. He promoted his Rastafarian brethren in Natty Dread, and he preached unity in One Love. In short, Bob Marley, like so many successful musicians, sang about a wide range of subjects. When I listen to some of our Dennery Segment artists, I marvel at their lyrical ability. Umpa is one who immediately comes to mind. This man is an extremely talented lyricist, but he's not the only one. How many of these artists are able to manipulate their lyrics to create a smooth flow with the music is amazing. So my recommendation, my 2 cents for what it's worth, is for some of the Dennery segment artists, particularly the more talented lyricists among them, to expand their subject range a bit. I'm not asking you to stop what you're doing. There obviously is a market for sexual lyrics, or you would not be singing, you would not all be singing about it so often. However, as more and more of you sing about the same thing, give some thought to what will happen inevitably to your art form. It will become saturated with many people, if not everyone, singing about the same topic. There is an opportunity for you to reach into new demographics and audiences with your music, and for you to make it even more popular and profitable than it is. My humble opinion is that you should seize this opportunity. I started this 2 Cents Tuesday talking about my experience 13 years ago, watching the musical Fela and the life of Fela Kuti, who premiered Afrobeat. Currently, another genre of music from Africa with a similar sounding name, Afrobeats, is one of the hottest and biggest musical trends. Names like Burna Boy, Wizkid, and Davido are becoming household names. 2 years ago, Billboard discontinued the reggae digital song sales chart, which listed the most downloaded reggae and dancehall songs. A few weeks ago, on the 29th of March, Billboard filled the void that had been created by the absence of its reggae and dancehall singles chart in its suite of musical charts with a US Afrobeat songs chart, which ranks the 50 most popular Afrobeat songs in the United States of America. Was the reggae and dancehall singles chart stopped because of the predictability of the music being produced in that genre? That's a question we have to ask. It is inconceivable that reggae could have suffered that fate. But remember, a group out of Virginia, the United States of America, called Soja, a few weeks ago beat out Sean Paul, Spice, and Gramps Morgan, among others, for the Reggae Grammy. Predictability is not a good thing in music. Therefore, should we continue to view Dennery segment as a genre that produces music only for our entertainment in St. Lucia, with a few of the artists getting gigs to perform at carnival fetes in the Caribbean and the diaspora? Or should we be exploring how we can cause the genre to have an even wider reach and appeal than it has achieved during its short, impressive life so far, while remaining true to its art form? I think that's a question that we need to ask. Thank you for viewing another 2 Cents Tuesday. Have a safe and productive week. Goodbye.